I can get a drink, but I don't care. Doesn't matter. Okay. Just see here. This little audio and whatnot. I don't really need it, but always good to know what's up. Why is my thing different? Fucking YouTube. I'll change the thumbnail later. I don't care. I don't know why YouTube does that constantly. It's just like, oh, here's a fucking thumbnail for what purpose? Don't know. Yeah. It's like, we'll just keep the thumbnail the same for some reason. Not sure why. It literally doesn't matter what I click. I go through this every time. I go through this every time I want to test audio. Fucking... I don't fucking know. Space Marine cartoon, why not?
Is your invitation to something real. Real performance.
Alright. I don't fucking know. Space Marine cartoon, why not?
Is your invitation.
Okay, the audio's good. Live chat should be on. Yep, there we go. Moderation helps out. Jesus, here we go. Build a positive live chat. Just choose who can participate. Set delay 2 messages. Yeah, we know. Why are you telling me this? I've done this before. Like, you don't need to tell somebody who's done the streams before what moderating the chat is like. Jesus Christ. Okay. So, y'all read the title. Y'all know we were here. I have to talk about this. It's driving me fucking nuts, okay? So, I'm sure everyone has heard about this whole craze of, like, AI-generated images and AI doing this and AI doing that and yada, 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 yada. Okay, cool. So, the problem with that, there is no inherent problem with a tool, right? So, this is not the argument I'm trying to make here. There's nothing wrong with making a computer program or piece of software or inventing a new nifty little tool that helps someone do their work better. The problem is when you have someone rely on that tool and when the expectations of the general audience are then put on that tool and not on the actual creative work of the people behind the tool. Okay? So, the thing I fucking despise about AI art, there's like two different things here, okay, that absolutely drive me up the wall with it. Number one is the obvious one. It steals art. No argument on that one. We're not having a discussion about that. That is a fact. It's objective. These databases, these AI databases, you got your, I don't even want to say the names of them just because they're fucked, but like they all run on a database, right? So the way the AI works is it compiles data, right? And then it puts all that data together. And then when you ask it for something, it pulls all of what it knows from that database, right? So if I want a picture of a green apple, it knows what the shape of an apple is supposed to be from all the pictures that's been fed into it. It knows what the color green is. Now, I didn't specify that it needed to be a light green apple, but considering that probably all the pictures it has are of Granny Smith apples, it will think that's what a green apple is. So it will most likely give me some options of a Granny Smith apple specifically. That's how it works, right? And you either tell it, yes, that's what I want, or no, or whatever, and there's a lot of this tech bro shit that goes into it of, like, teaching the AI like what's wrong, right? So if there's something horrendously wrong or it doesn't give you the right input based on what you've typed in, then they basically flag that so the AI knows next time to pull also from that and say, okay, this was right, but this was wrong, but they were in the same prompt. So what did I put in this that was wrong? The AI sort of critiques itself, right? That's basically what it is. It's sort of critique for the software. The issue is that these databases are built on stolen art. Now, you can argue that, okay, some guys, if you're basing it off of the work of Da Vinci or Rembrandt or one of the old masters, right? Anything before 1928 is public domain, right? Like there are things that are copyright and things that are public domain. Now, here's the fucking kicker. You cannot say that, like, oh, the more modern stuff. If you're pulling anything from a modern film or a modern game or anything like that, you cannot say that it is public domain, right? And this is an argument that a bunch of fucking morons like to make is, oh, well, it's the same as an artist using reference, except it's not, because the AI is not interpreting the image, and it's not worried about compositional forms and color values and this and that. It is just taking what it has seen before, smushing it together with a bunch of other images it's seen before, and giving it to you because it thinks that's what you want. That's not interpretation. That's not the soul of art, right? That's the number one problem, is that it's taking the soul from artists, creating a cheap imitation of their work, and then rendering it. And all of these AIs, guys, let me tell you, all of them are all about hyperrealism. That is just this thing that has been pervasive for years, is this idea that to be beautiful, it must be hyper-realistic and rendered in extreme detail, right? And that's the problem, is when you start basing things on realism, now it's just like, well, fucking, what's happening here, right? So that's problem number one. Problem number one is it's stealing art from artists, right? And it wouldn't be a problem if these databases, if these guys that make these AI programs came in and were like, hey, we're not feeding this thing any information that's not volunteered, right? We control the database. Nobody can enter anything in without our permission and our validation of it, right? So if, to throw a name out there, of Jade Animations, right, on YouTube, think of any artist you want. So unless, or actually Meat Canyon would be a really good example, actually, because he has a very specific style, right? It's sort of a Western Junji Ito thing. He's fucking great. I love his style. It's so creepy and weird. But it's also hilarious too. So the thing with Meat Canyon is he has very specific style. You can't just get somebody to draw in somebody else's style, right? That's the hardest thing for an artist to do, is because they spend years developing their own style, their own thing, right? And this even expands into the 3D world, right? I could look up, like let's go to I don't know, fucking ArtStation, right? So let's go to ArtStation, and I'm actually going to drop this for a second. Yeah, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to drop this in there for a second, just to make sure. Okay, I am signed out, because sometimes it'll sign me out. Sometimes I'll stay signed in. I just don't want my actual name and all that up there, because it doesn't need to be there. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't care. It's just, we're just trying to focus on this. So this is ArtStation. ArtStation's had an issue lately where, it's great. It's a great thing. A lot of people will use it for their portfolios, right? So here's this guy working at Vigor. He's an art outsourced at Ophion Studios. Great, cool. So this is somebody working on, some of the material for them, right? Cool. So then we go to, what is Ophion Studios? Oh, look, they did all this stuff. So it's like a portfolio site, basically. It's really nice. However, the problem with that is that ArtStation has been allowing, they've been doing nothing to stop the AI databases from stealing artwork from here to feed into the machine. So the problem then becomes that people are making original art, hosting it on here, and then being fed in. But why did I come here? So I can show you guys something very interesting. So if I just typed M4A1, right? If I just type M4A1, you can see we have many, many, many options for exactly the same weapon. They're all an M4A1. However, every time you look at one, you're going to see something different. Some will be cleaner, some will be more accurate to the real world specifications, right? Because that's always the goal. But this one, looks like it's a little stubbier. Maybe the grip's different. Maybe the barrel's different, right? So take a good look at this, right? We're gonna compare a couple of these. So there's that one. Let's grab one from, I want to make sure I'm not grabbing it from the same guy. Here's another guy, right? Juan Car. Okay, cool. Juan Car Carrasco. Cool, awesome. These images aren't so great, but we'll open it anyway. Just, it's the general idea here, okay, to explain this. Let's look for, here we go. Here's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, right? So this is one made for a game, right? So this is actually, for a game. It's been in a game. There you go. And then we have, I don't know, fucking anybody. You can go down the list. You can keep going. So I think I've made my point. There are numerous people that have made an M4A1. However, we want to look at these. Let's look at some of the differences, guys. Like, look at the inherent differences in it. And this depends on what reference is the person using. What attachments are they choosing to place on the weapon when they make it? What color palette are they choosing? Like, look at this. Grip. Side tactical flashlight looks like. Open ported, from this side for the magazine, right? There's no little pull on the end of the magazine here. There's, the sights, okay, look at the sights. This is like the standard sight. This is more of a tactical sight. It's re-envisioned, right? So look at this one. Look at this one. I mean, I don't know why it's giving me both at once, but okay. For some reason, it's too stupid to know the difference. Okay, cool. So yeah, like look at this though. Look at the difference. So the stock is similar back here, but look, it's flat. But this one has a slight little kink in it, doesn't it? Right? There's a lot more to this, right? The texture is entirely different, right? This one's more, regular, like, desert warfare texture. This one has a custom texture with, like, an eagle's face on it. Cool. Look at the barrel, right? The barrel length is exceedingly important in this one. I mean, look at it. It's so long here. Look at the ratio of, like, this triangle. So if I were to go here, here, back to there. Now look, if I go here, here, and back to there, it's longer. It has this extension to it. It's clearly different, right? That's the point I'm making, right? That is the point of artistic interpretation. It is choice. The artist is choosing to show you something for a reason. It can be because that's what they want in the game. It can be because that's what the limitations of the game allow, is maybe you can't have something fully kitted out because that's too much for the engine to render, right? So maybe that's different. So this expands to 3D art as well. But I mean, let's look at 2D art, okay? Let's look at, if we were to look for something, let's see how many people have done a bubble boy, right? I don't know what a bubble boy is, but we're gonna look for it. Okay, cool. Let's see what we can find if we want to filter by digital 2D art, right? All I did was type the word bubble and boy, all right? So let's make this simpler. Let's just type bubble in 2D art. It's just bubble. I don't know what bubble means to these different artists, right? Here's a bubble. What is this? This was posted 2 years ago, so we know it's before the AI craze. This was somebody's idea of bubble, the bubble prompt, right? So, I mean, this guy's got a bubble helmet. Cool. Whoop, fuck that up. Yeah. I mean, but this also fits into his theme. He draws these very, papal images, looks like. Is like his most, most of his stuff comes from that. He's got these different sort of religious figures or uniformed people. No, I don't want his thing. I want to go back to... I'm going to just take bubble again. Be easier. But you can see, I mean, this guy, bubble. That guy, let's see. We're going to go back to 2D, just make it specific. This person thought of bubble gum and made a bubblegum person. Okay? This person has bubbles in an ocean. This person, blue bubble ship. They decided to call a ship the Blue Bubble. Alright, not sure why, but that's what they wanted to do with it. There's just so many options, right? It's called creativity. That's what this is. It's people looking at the same concept and creating something different because that's what their brain thought to create. If I were to type the word bubble into an AI, the AI would have no fucking idea what I want. There is no AI on the planet where you can type one word and get what you want. You can type green. You're not going to get specific results from a single word prompt. You have to tell it specifically. If I wanted, let's say I wanted to create something from AI. This is the closest to what I've seen AI doing, right, with a lot of the environmental stuff. So if I wanted the AI to create this, I would have to tell it white spheres, hill, mud, probably, and dark sky. I would have to tell it all of that just to get it to get close to this. And it probably still wouldn't look quite right. There's a level of refinement here as well. That's something that the AI also lacks. It lacks refinement. It lacks the understanding of the principles and elements of design. Okay? And it's just fucking obnoxious. So that's the first problem is the artistic soul is being stolen from hardworking artists and used to fucking feed as it's used as some sort of sick, twisted 21st century digital sacrifice to this AI demon. Exactly what it is. I've sounded a little like Alex Jones right now, but I mean, what else could you really call it? What else could you call it? It's just ridiculous. So there's that. Right? That's the big issue that everyone knows about is it steals art. Okay. My second issue is that it annoys the shit out of me personally because okay, how do I best phrase this? Instant gratification fucking blows, right? And so if you try to do something like The Simpsons actually had a great episode on this where Bart thinks he's learning the ultimate lesson of life of, well, I got a guitar and I wanted to learn how to play it, and I sucked so bad at it and I wasn't instantly good at it. So, actually let's just fucking look it up so I can show you guys. Simpsons Damn, what would I type for this? See, I have to think about it. The AI can't. Bart. So there's this episode. Is it the Auto Show? 22nd season of the 3rd episode. Bart wants to become a rock star. Yeah, that's the one. Okay. So basically, Bart gets this guitar because he goes to a concert for, I forget the band. I think it was it? No, it wasn't Slipknot. It was somebody else. I don't know. He was seeing some rock band or something. And basically, this is like some dream sequence. It's kind of cool with The Simpsons because you can always tell when they're doing a dream sequence because all of the colors in that sequence, the environment, the background characters are always like weird, right? It's interesting. But this is a little dream sequence he's having of like he's thinking he's some famous rock star or something, and he's thinking, oh, I'll just get the guitar and I'll be really cool. The problem is that he wasn't good at it at first. And so he basically just said, screw it, I'm not going to do this, right? And the problem with that is he could have gotten better, right? That's the thing, is he could have achieved that skill, but he had to spend time doing it. And, like, kids are impressionable, and they'll think, oh, well, I'm not immediately good at the thing, therefore I shouldn't do the thing, right? And this is also what leads to all this social media nonsense, where you've got these kids that are just ruining their attention spans, scrolling through TikTok and all this shit. Their attention spans are going down to fucking zero, and it's ridiculous. But like, this is what I'm talking about: is this idea of instant gratification of I can type a couple words into this software that just pops out whatever I want, right? Go ahead, open Photoshop and try to do that. You can't, because Photoshop is not some magical thing that generates whatever you want. You have to know how to use it. You have to learn about the tools that are in it. You have to understand it on a certain level, right? And again, I am not opposed to the idea of using AI tools to increase artist production workflows, right? To make it easier, because the whole point of a tool is to make it easier on the artist to do what they need to do, right? I have no opposition to that. I have an opposition to people. It's the same shit I see from, the supposed modern artists, right? You had your Pollock slinging paint and all this other shit, right? People putting in exceedingly minimal effort and then getting some praise for it, right? And it's a whole other conversation, but it's essentially the same thing. But the only difference is, like, at least with somebody like Pollock, I can ignore him. I don't like him, so I can ignore him. I can't ignore the AI art because it's actively harming my creative community, right? It is actively disrupting what we are doing, okay? And that's not to say that I want AI tools banned or anything like that. It's just that I'm fucking sick of it. It's pathetic, right? It's pathetic that I see all these people like, oh, what'd you use to generate this or whatever, and yada, yada, yada. And it's art theft. It's just another level of art theft, right? And so some examples of this, right? This is what has sparked this stream for me is like, I just can't. I just can't stand this thing in particular, right? It was fine when a couple people were tooling around with some environment concept art, or it was like, oh, haha, here's the AI, and look, it can't draw fingers, right? Right, that's the idea. um like okay, it's still a problem then, but at least it was a relegated problem. Now I'm being forced to see it on like other areas of my life, and I'm being forced to like, I'm seeing it on YouTube, and I'm seeing it over here on whatever social media I'm on, and it's just like, guys, fuck's sake, like, this is not art. Okay, so the latest trend is if I just type this, I'm sure it'll come up, but the latest trend is to take movies and call it some kind of like, what if it was an 80s dark fantasy film, right? And if anybody understands the vibe, right? Okay, cool. It's this 80s dark fantasy. You think like, Dark Crystal and your He-Man Master of the Universe stuff, like shit like that. It's kind of crazy. But you look at this and it's completely horrendous, right? I mean, look at this. Like, it has the color of Shrek, if it's ever gonna fucking load. Oh my god, I just want the whole fucking thing. Because I'm just trying to see like all of them together, because there's several images that were generated for it, right? Like, this shit is just ridiculous, and then you have Fiona over here, and then you have Puss in Boots, right, with the sword and the hat and whatever, right? But I mean, look at this. Look at this. It even gets the hat wrong, right? So like, we're gonna dissect a couple of these. I mean, donkey, not hard to get that wrong because it's an actual donkey in a lake, like in a swamp. Okay, cool. The dragon looks terrible. Let's see. This is Gingy, apparently, right? I mean, here's Shrek. Fiona. I mean, there's not much to say about Fiona because Fiona is based on a real person. But even look at this. They even got the shoulders wrong, so they're not the poofy out shoulders. They don't conform to her thing. And there's just this, like, the way her hair parts up here. There's certain little things about it you can notice that are just off, right? It's just a little bit off. But I mean, we look at this shit, right? Like, we look at this, and then we look at Puss in Boots, right? So if we look at this, we get Puss in Boots, right? The DreamWorks character, Puss in Boots. Fantastic. So we can actively compare the two. So we can directly one-to-one compare these. Do you notice what's different about this, right? It's that it gets reimagined as something else. And I mean, look at it. It's the color is gone, right? He's not even an orange cat anymore. He's wearing far more clothing than he did. His hat is the same color, but it's missing the red trim. It's missing elements that make it what it is, right? And look at his sword. He's got a like sword or a bow or something. I don't know. Look at it's a weird looking sword. But he doesn't even have like the curled mustache. This curled mustache, the yellow feather, the belt to no pants, right? These are things that an artist designed. This is what an artist thinks about when they're creating a character. This is what an AI smashes together from all of its knowledge. It knows what a cat looks like. It knows what a cave looks like. It knows what a hat looks like. It knows what a sword somewhat looks like. It didn't get it right here. It looks kind of off. I mean, look at this. It's like clearly a problem. But all this shit, right? It doesn't understand the finer details. It doesn't get it, right? Let's look for the dragon. So Shrek, the dragon in Shrek, right? Look at the difference. Okay? Look at the difference. Now it's still pink, but the lipstick is gone. The eyes are a different color. There's horns. Why are there horns? Right? There's fins. So it's swapped where the hard surface and the soft surface are supposed to be. It's supposed to have flaps up here and spikes down here. Why? That's how the artist wanted it. The AI doesn't understand this. It doesn't get it. It doesn't know. Like, what are these? What's this? Is this metal? Is this armor? What is this? I don't understand this thing running up the spine of the wing. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. Again, if you look at it from a high realism or a hyper realism standpoint, it looks great because that's all the AI can do. The AI is incompetent when it comes to things like stylization. It doesn't understand because it will never understand principles and elements of design. Now, I think maybe you keep going with this technology, and in 200 years, maybe 200, 300, 400 years, when you have a computer advanced enough to think for itself, right, and to procedurally generate things and has a mass of like all of human knowledge to pull from and to understand, okay, then you're approaching something like a Star Trek holodeck. But even then, you have to refine that further because you can't just ask it for a 1950s wooden desk. What if you didn't like that color of the desk? You're gonna have to change the color, right? Because these are adjustments that have to be made. These are adjustments that artists make in real time when they're doing their work, and then when they get it finished, they send it off to their art lead, right, on the project, and they will approve it or deny it, and they'll be like, no, we need to do this, we need this to be this. They'll give them notes on how to fix it, right? And so that's where when you go into the AI, you have to be like, oh, here's fucking like here, like you have to refine it. You have to tell it which version you liked, and then you have to try to start adding words to get it to give you what you want. When you could actually just explain to an artist how to do it, and the artist could get it the first try, they would understand. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be able to always tell the artist what you want, and there's still that level of communication. But you're losing that level of communication when you're not thinking critically about what you want in the image, right? Like oh well, let's make the end. Let's make the dragon larger in the posterior, right? Like larger tail and whatnot, or let's try the green eyes instead of that. These little things, these little things. But like let's compare it to this shit, right? So like Gingy, fucking hell, Gingy, poor gingerbread man, he got all fucked up by this. Look at him, it's disgusting, right? You look at it and you want to throw up. It's gnarly. I mean, let's see. So this is a pretty similar scene, I think. I think it's supposed to be replicating the him on a tray scene. And like, look at it. It doesn't even look like fucking gingerbread, man. It looks like some leathery, mucky, dirty thing. It doesn't even look like gingerbread. It doesn't understand that texture, right? But look at the eyes. Why do the eyes have pupils? Why are the eyes the wrong color? Why does he have a bow tie now? Like, what's happening here? I don't understand what the hell this is. It's supposed to be like a cupcake or something? I don't know. I don't get it. Like he's got this nose out of nowhere. Like, why is there a nose now? Where are his eyebrows is the question. Why do we have these giant circles? This is the worst offender. This is nightmare fuel. This is terrible. Like, he has a gaping mouth. He's like super three-dimensional. Like, it's implying that he has a mouth and a throat now? Like, it loses all the whimsy. It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, the man himself, Shrek. Let's see. We just typed Shrek. Oop. We just typed Shrek. Looking for Shrek. This is Shrek, ladies and gentlemen. But, okay, this Shrek is wearing armor. Okay? In armor. So we look for Shrek in the armor. What do we get? This is Shrek in the... Whoop, that's a small one. Here we go. We'll go with this one. This is Shrek in armor. Like, look, it's got... His vest is entirely wrong. It's not tied. It's this thing, right? The armor has spikes now for some reason. The armor is multi-layered. Now, again, this part, okay, being multi-layered, it's kind of that plate mail armor. Like, okay, fine, cool. But it just isn't, like, even look at the ears, right? If we look at the ears of Shrek, we go back. Look at his fucking ears, man. Look at the ears. The ears are entirely 100% wrong. That's not what Shrek's ears look like in any way, shape, or form. Shrek isn't this wrinkly, pumpkin-headed monster. That's not what he looks like, man. That's not. I don't even know what's happening with the head up here. It looks like they actually had to crop it because there's probably some stupid fucking thing up here that they don't want you to see because whoever made this wants to be like, wow, look at this cool thing the AI made, but they're cropping it in such a way that you don't see whatever this little bobble here is. I wouldn't be surprised if it was trying to use a pumpkin as reference because it doesn't know what an ogre looks like. Like, what the fuck is this? And again, on a rendering, like graphical level, it looks amazing, right? It has exceeding levels of detail and lighting, but those things are easy because you can feed an AI images of highly detailed, highly rendered things, and it can replicate those patterns and intricacies. But the one thing it cannot do, and the one thing that artists will always be superior at, I don't care how advanced you make a machine, is they can't do the elements of design. They can't. They can't do it. They can't think of when to change something and when not to change something. They can only go by what they're programmed to do, right? And that's the strength of an artist is they can step outside of their comfort zone, try something new, try something different, right? And this is just the obnoxious thing, right? And so the other part of this stream, right? I titled it. What the fuck did I title it? I titled it some random shit. What the fuck did I call this thing? There's like a second after this. The lowering of standards. Okay. So the problem with this is that it also contributes to something that cinema and everything else has had a problem with lately is the lowering of standards, right? The collective mass audience choosing to accept worse quality of something just because they're more interested in it, right? And that this is the weird part, right? Is like they're, and regardless of anything about politics or whatever else, there are some things, some products, some movies, some shows, some games that are made that are fucking terrible, right? But people will still defend them because they like it and they can't separate their feelings from the thing they like, right? And so you'll never catch me defending Battlefield Earth as this amazing film. It's not. It's a fun film, but it's not a good film, right? It has really no merits outside of John Travolta yet again playing a villain and yet again being amazing as a villain in a film. I mean, just that's really fun to watch. It's just fun. He's just a good actor. The rest of it, clearly not what they were going for. It was like something needed to be fixed about that. So there are several movies where I won't argue that like, oh yeah, it's actually this secretly this masterpiece. Where I was like, no, some things can just be good. Some things are bad, but you can still like them, right? That's fine. But the problem is that AI also contributes to lowering people's standards, right? They don't understand the effort. They are like the casual observer already did not understand the amount of effort it takes to actually create some of these things, right? And not understanding that, people are like, "Oh, well, we'll accept that." It's like, no, you don't understand. This is the bare minimum that they wanted to do with it. They could have done more. They had the tools, they had the means, they had the time to do it. They had these projects that have a huge budget and then come out looking like shit or have a bad story or something, right? And so an interesting case lately has been Avatar: The Way of Water, right? Which, let's check the current numbers. Let's see. What are we up to now? As of 3 hours ago, Avatar: The Way of Water has topped 1.5 billion globally, 10th highest grossing film of all time. Right? So the thing about Way of Water is that it looks amazing. It's a spectacle in both the visuals and the action, the lighting, the water simulations, the design elements of everything is just so good, right? And the only complaint that anyone's really having is the story, right? And the thing people don't understand is, yeah, it's not a great story, but it's not a bad story either. It's an okay story. And that's completely fine to have. It's fine to have an average or just an okay story or even a below average story. You can have a bad story and still make an insanely entertaining product, but you have to do better in other areas, right? That's where it is. It's not, the standard isn't lowered for Way of Water. It's just shifted to the standard is now, okay, it's spectacle, right? We're going to see the spectacle. That's the expectation. We are not expecting the story to be incredible. And there were some moments that were more interesting than I thought they would be. I'm like, oh wow, that I wasn't expecting this, that, and the other thing in Way of Water, and it's just kind of cool. And the next one with what they call the Ash people, right? In what's the next one? I don't know. I don't know what they're calling the next one. But like, there's some working titles I've seen floating around, but I don't think they're confirmed or anything. But the third Avatar film is looking also interesting. Why? Because it's going to show us some stuff we haven't seen before. That's the point of entertainment, is to do something new, do something different, and show you something new. So the problem is then we get people that will defend to the death mediocre products, right? And this is how it ties into AI, is that AI gets fucking, like, oh my god, it makes people not understand. Like I said, it's just they think that they can just type this in and that it magically comes out of the machine. They don't understand that it's stealing art. Or they do, and they willfully ignore it because they're getting what they want, right? And they're putting their instant gratification above some other thing, right? Like oh, I want to mess around with this because it's fun. It's like, no, pick up a pencil, learn to draw. Oh, but I don't like to draw. Okay, write a story. Oh, but I don't like to write. Sculpt something. Oh, I don't like. If you go down, if you can't sculpt or paint or like learn any of these things, right? If you can't learn to do any of this, like, then your only other option is to use your money from your job or wherever you get your money from, right? You take your income and then you give it to an artist and ask them to make the art for you, right? And if you can't do either of those things, if you can't do it yourself or pay someone else to do it, you don't get it. It's that simple. You do not have a right to use someone else's art to boost your own damn ego. That's the thing of it. People want to feel like they're accomplishing something or doing something, right? This is where video games actually have a big problem. Is the reason that video games are so like attractive is because they have goals and objectives and achievable things that are all meant to be achievable. There's not meant to be failure, except in certain cases, like say Elden Ring, right? They still want you to beat the game. They just want you to do it with a certain set of knowledge and from training and practicing and trying over and over and over again and understanding when to roll and when to dodge and when to hit and when to back away and you know, like all this other shit. That is an instance where the game is not holding your hand. It's trying to get you to think and to use your brain and be imaginative and creative, right? And it's just an insult to art and entertainment to then say, no, we can just do this better and cheaper and faster this other way. You know, I expect that shit from corporate, right? I always expect corporate to keep undermining the artist and keep looking for a way to simply get rid of as many people as possible so that they can crank out all this crap on their own and just get money in for doing basically nothing. That's always their goal. Always. Like, that is always corporate's goal, right? Is to just make a bunch of money for doing the bare minimum of something, right? Unless you're WB, in which case you can't even do the bare minimum because you're just too fucking stupid to do that. But we've seen games, right? Like, speaking of games, we've seen games that have been completely fucking horrendous because they try to bring in people that don't know anything about making the game, right? Battlefield 2042. This was like a big shift in DICE. Like 60% of the studio that was working on this game during its development time were brand new devs that had no fucking idea not only how to make a Battlefield game, these were some guys that had never shipped a major title. Like, they understood nothing. That's why it came out in such a terrible, terrible state, and that's why there were terrible design decisions from the top down that made no fucking sense. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Complete mismanagement of the product. I mean, Cyberpunk, same thing. Big, huge promises. And then they just didn't do it right. They just didn't do their job. And so this is what happens, is people then start to expect certain things. And when your expectation of satisfaction doesn't match with reality, you get mad. And the thing is, you don't get mad at the situation, right? A lot of people don't understand. They can be mad at a situation without being mad at a person. We need a target, right? Human beings are conflict driven and we need an enemy, right? And if there is no enemy, we will invent an enemy, right? It is ridiculous. Sap says, God damn it, YouTube, why didn't you tell me you was live anyway? Long time to see you, good to see you. Yeah, Sap, good to see you, man. This is just a quick rant. I'm actually going to be wrapping it up here in a minute, but this was easier than like recording it and then editing it and then putting it up. Just far easier doing it this way. but that's the issue, right? It is all of this instant gratification shit, and people lower their standards because if you lower your standards, it's easier to achieve the thing you want, right? So I've been going to the gym, and I'm approaching the end of my fourth week going to the gym, and I've never gone to the gym in my life. I was gonna go a couple years ago, and then the first time I was in there, I blew my arms out, and I was like, you know what, this sucks. I'm gonna just, it's not that I refused to go. It's just I just didn't think about it, and so I was busy with other things. And I did, whatever I was doing at the time. And recently, I was like, you know what, I need to eat better. I need to go to the gym, whatever. And it wasn't even New Year's resolution shit. I did this back in December, right? I was like, because I got up to a certain weight, and I'm like, damn, I'm fat. I feel bad. I should not be doing this. Um, and that's just part of like learning discipline and delayed gratification. And God, if people like if people want a lesson in how not to have instant gratification, go to the gym. You will get zero, and I mean zero results in the first week, right? The only thing you're going to get is you went and you did a little more. That's the thing, is you have to do a little more than you did the previous day, right? You have to do just a little bit better than you did last time. That's the idea of the gym. So when you go to the gym, you got that, right? And that's what I've been learning about, instant gratification and all this shit, right? And the only person I have to blame in that situation is me. Now, here's the difference. These people that want to tool around with the AI art, and these people that want to, give praise to me after you check the thumbnail. Yeah, I know it's the same thumbnail. I don't care. I mean, it's kind of relevant because Wednesday is also a test in mediocrity. It's a very boring, average thing, but people just heap praise on it for some reason. Even though I did a whole stream explaining why it kind of fucking blows and is boring, right? And it's just like that's the thing, is the instant gratification and the lowering of standards, right? So if I went to the gym and I said, okay, my standard for going to the gym is I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna walk on the treadmill for 5 minutes. I usually do 10 minutes, but I do 5 minutes. 5 minutes is twice as achievable as 10 minutes, right? Because it's half of what I normally do. So the problem with that is now I will have achieved it, but I will not have achieved my actual potential. I will not have achieved something of significance. I will have only achieved something of the bare minimum effort, right? Go to the gym, do one set instead of three sets on the weights, or do 10 push-ups instead of 15, right? You guys can see where I'm going with this. That is the idea of lowering your standards. Is if you lower your standards enough, then anything, anything you're given that is beyond those standards, you will think is the most amazing thing in the world. And this is the problem with modern audiences. They just they don't fucking get it, right? And it's not to say that anyone's being stupid or willfully ignorant or whatever. It's just that they've chosen to lower their standards for entertainment because they can't find entertainment in anything else, right? They can't go find a good book. They can't go, seek out good independent media. They can't break free of the mass media stuff, right? With your, all these movies and shows that are always vying for your attention. And that's what's driven a lot of YouTube creation in recent years, is that the mainstream stuff in the comics and the games, the cinema and the whatever, it's gotten so bad and out of place that people go over and find something else to do, right? They choose to do something else, right? So it's like, why? What the fuck, right? So that's what it is that people will lower their standards, and then that way, that's what happens when they see those images. They'll see something that's super highly rented, and they'll be like, "Wow, that's amazing," right? And I had a similar experience at one time when I knew nothing about game design, prop modeling, stuff like that. When I saw what I think of now as a rather simple thing to do, right? Once you understand the software on a basic, rudimentary level, you can do that relatively easily. It's not, it's not the greatest thing in the world like I thought it was. I just thought it was because I hadn't seen it before, right? So when your standards for something are as low as it's new and it's shiny, then you have a problem. The problem then becomes you do not exercise your brain. You do not actively critique the thing you're looking at. I will say, Way of Water is a spectacle. The lighting and everything, cool. taking the folks to the movies here next week. Mom wants to go see that new, thing, Megan, whatever the fuck, Dad's gonna come with me. We're gonna go watch Way of Water, right? Because he wants to see it. I don't mind seeing it again, just because I'm also a very visual guy. I like the spectacle, right? But I won't say that the story's good. I won't say that. It's okay. But I won't say that because it wouldn't be true to be like, oh, it's amazing, and I cried at this one part, whatever. I had some emotional moments or some really cool moments. Megan, yeah, thank you. But I'm not gonna say that it's like this amazing fucking thing. Am I gonna say that Way of Water narratively is in the same league, even in the same like state, in the same continent as something like Saving Private Ryan or Forrest Gump, or insert any movie that is a really great story? Like, no, I'm not going to. Not going to. It's just like because I can't. It's not factual to say that. But people don't care about factual. That's the thing. Is people put their like put what they assert and what they feel over the factual reality of a situation, and that's the part that fucks everything up. I haven't watched TV for a good 4 years because there hasn't been anything good except I mean, that's why I don't watch cable. I watch fucking, I can't show it because last time I got a fucking stupid copyright strike showing it. But that's why I watch Tubi and Pluto TV. Why? They both have great catalogs, great set of programming to watch. And Pluto gives me that, hey, I'm in the mood for Star Trek. Cool. They have two. Yeah, they just recently, not super recent, but like in the last couple months, they've added or last couple weeks, I should say, the last few weeks they've actually added a second channel for Star Trek. So there's Star Trek and then there's more Star Trek. So the first Star Trek usually runs the original series, or you'll find either the original series or TNG. And then on the secondary channel, what they call More Trek, that will usually just 24/7 run Deep Space Nine, which is my favorite one, which is it's the best one, right? And I could I could do a whole stream on breaking down the Star Treks and which one's the best, which is DS9. But yeah, no, it's that's why, because it gives me what I want, and I don't have to go through this like, oh, is the show good, and I don't have to suffer through these Hollywood tropes of cable nonsense of just like, oh, here's a fucking it's all nonsense. All these drama shows and all these crime shows and all sorts of shit. It's terrible, terrible. But that's the point, right? That's the whole thing I'm getting at with this AI art is it's fucking garbage, and I hate it. And is it gonna go anywhere? Probably not, right? It's probably not gonna go away. It's gonna keep going, but it's going to have to be codified. It's going to have some rules and regulations put on it. Otherwise, we're just going to have a big fucking problem, right? And the thing is, you guys don't want to see a world without artists. You really don't. You piss the artists off enough, we'll all go get day jobs and just stop making art, right? And we'll make it in our own time, and we'll share it around in a little independent market that we create. We won't do this mainstream shit anymore. And your entertainment is gonna suffer. Like you think it's okay now, or you think it's great now? No, you're gonna get even worse products, right? Because the only reason any of it is halfway good is because there are artists like me who will stand up to corporate and say, no, we need to do it this other way, right? There's people like Henry Cavill who will be like, no, it's not respectful of the source material. You're not doing it right. We need to do it better, right? That's the problem with this whole AI thing, and just lowering people just lowered their fucking standards in recent years. I remember when movies were really creative and really fun. Do you guys remember the college humor movies? Where'd they go? I mean, it's not like the jokes got any less funny when you go back and watch them. They're still funny. So, where are our comedies? Where are they? Where's the funny? There's no more funny. There's no more jokes. Like, it's all either dark dystopian sci-fi or this or that or whatever. There's nothing hopeful. There's nothing good, right? And that just and that's the problem when you want your media to reflect the world we live in, is that the world we live in fucking blows, and nobody wants to do anything about it. That's the problem. But here we are. Anyway, that is it for this little rant. I got about an hour of this going. I just had to get that off my chest. It was fucking eating me up. But yeah, fuck AI. It's awful. I hate it. I don't support it. I will probably never support it. fucking scumbag corporations are already in on it. Adobe is already like, like harvesting your data to sell it to fucking these damn AIs, right? To like mine it for information so that they can bolster the AI. It's fucking ridiculous. It's just awful. But yeah, no, fuck this shit. Fuck AI shit. I hate it. I don't respect it. It's terrible. I want it gone. I want it to go away, right? And anything with AI that includes this fucking whatever the fuck it is, this chat GPT, whatever the fuck I don't know. I mean, like all these like things where like you're talking to the computer or some shit. I don't like I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, no. I despise AI. People need to get better standards for things so they can spot AI and be like, oh, actually, this is really bad for art and creativity. We should not be doing this and we should not be supporting this. I want to see comment sections just absolutely demolish it like they did with, Rings of Power and shit. When something bad is out and you piss off a lot of people, they're going to let you know about it. And you can't hide from it. You can't run from it. You can lie about it all you want, but it's not going to work. We've seen it time and time again. But, I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go do some stuff. Probably watch Punisher because I've been thinking about it lately. Not the show, but like the original. I'm on a John Travolta kick, and so like he's the villain in the old Punisher. Plus, I haven't seen the old like 2002. What was it? 2002 was the old Punisher movie. Um, but yeah, no, I'm gonna go watch that. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. I'm out of here. But like, comment, check out the streams, all that shit. Yeah. But bye.